James Gunn just did everything that DC leadership hasn't done for years and acknowledges the fans, cancels narratives all over the place, and makes everyone look like an idiot, except me.
Warning, this video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and
You ever hear your friends saying those DC fans don't deserve anything? Those Snyder fans, those Ayer cut fans. Well, James Gunn, he canceled that narrative. And he did something that Walter Hamada and the rest haven't done. Already, this is way far above and beyond what you've ever got with DC in the past. And I have to say, hashtag Max was right. Hashtag Max was right. He has a great social media presence now, not like the past where people have the major critics of him have an issue with his past, but that makes him even better now. He knows not what to do. So this is breaking news. Yes, very good. Breaking news. This is the difference you get with Gunn. I'm gunning for, no, that's not a good way to say gunning for Gunn. I'm supporting Gunn. I stand with Gunn. Okay, here we go. James Gunn opened up Twitter at the end of a long, creative weekend to see many tweets to hashtag Save Legends of Tomorrow and hashtag Release the Ayer Cut, and fan support for other DC projects over the years. The majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful. So I'm looking at you, Matt Jarbo, and all the rest that only engage with the toxic and say that that's the majority of the people. I think James Gunn just canceled that narrative. The majority of the stuff he got was respectful. Now, are you going to call him a liar? Are you going to call James Gunn a liar? I know a lot of my viewers here can't stand hearing about Zack Snyder, the Ayer Cut, restore the Snyderverse. But a lot of you go to Twitter and duke it out with the toxic of the toxic and just argue. Twitter is a place for arguments. It doesn't have to be, but that's what you get. The majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful. So that cancels a narrative. And I don't believe, along with like a lot of my friends that are sick of talking about this, that stuff shouldn't happen because of idiots on the internet. Because there's a lot more people involved, creatives, that this is their livelihood, creative vision. Things should not stop, should not go off the tracks just because there's assholes on the internet. Guess what? There's assholes everywhere. There's toxic fandom everywhere. Every fandom is like this. That doesn't excuse it, but it is what it is. This is the internet. This is Twitter. Twitter's toxic. There you go. Everyone that complains about Twitter is usually on Twitter. If it's really that toxic, the move on crew, move on. I'm not moving on from Twitter. I'm just going to use it to promote stuff and not get in Twitter fights, because there's different things you can use Twitter for. And then he says, as the new and first ever CEOs, let me make this bigger here. Okay, there we go. There we go. As the new and first CEOs of DC Studios, Peter and I think it's important we acknowledge you, the fans, and let you know we hear your different desires for the pathways forward for DC. Although our ability to interact on Twitter has been lessened due to the workloads of our new positions, we are listening and open to everything as we embark on this journey, and will continue to do so for the next few years. And this is another thing. Speculate all you want, But don't assume you know what this man's going to do when he says he's open to everyone. Take a man on his word. Oh, he is never going to do the Ayer cut because he's friends with Margot Robbie. I think that's a stumbling block, but he does want to listen to the consumers, though. He wants to hear you out. He's not promising anything here too, which is also smart. He says, I want to hear you out, and there's different directions, lots of different directions that people want to go. And ultimately, just like the problems within television and Miko fandom is on the company, the problems with the DC fandom, the majority of the issues are a result of bad leadership. There's no excusing toxic, but the reason it's like this is WB and the lack of leadership. And ultimately, he did way more than Walter Hamada ever did in one day with this tweet, acknowledging people. Instead of saying it's a cul-de-sac, it's never going to happen. Tact. When you have a consumer that wants something, even if you're not going to do it, be tactful about it. Say we're listening, we're examining all possibilities. It's never going to go anywhere. Shut up and act like your consumers are children. A league of his own right now, James Gunn. We are listening and open to everything we embark on this journey, and we'll continue to do so the next few years. But our initial focus is on the story going forward, hammering out new DCU, and he's being honest with you there. You might not get what you want, but he's being respectful to you because he's saying our initial focus is the storytelling going forward. So that still might mean it not room for the Ayer cut, but at least he's being respectful. Hammering out the new DCU and telling the biggest story ever told across multiple films, television, animated projects. We invite all DC fandoms from across the multiverse and everyone else as well into the new universe. This new universe, we can't wait to reveal more. So he's also giving you some glimpse of the future. He's saying, let's get this. This is very important. Our initial focus, hammering out new DCU and telling the biggest story ever told across multiple films, television shows, and animated projects. So he's saying, we hear you, but he needs to focus on the future. So what does this mean for us? This means this man's listening, he's trying for you, and no one's going to get everything they want. But we have to give it a chance. And I love what he's saying. This is what I've been craving for in any leadership across Star Wars. This is far beyond what Kathy Kennedy's ever done. Far beyond what Kathy Kennedy's ever done. Do you know how much more it would have helped if she would have said after the backlash from The Last Jedi, we hear you, we do want Star Wars to be good, and interacted with the consumer? Don't promise them things you can't keep. And he didn't hear either. All he promised is that he's going to listen, but his focus is on the future in big stories. And he's getting requests every which direction. You can't listen to everyone. Well, you can listen to everyone, but doesn't mean you have to do it. It just means you be respectful about it, have some tact, and don't treat your consumer like children that you have to ignore. He says he's listening. He wants to know, as long as you're respectful. And that cancels the narrative. Everyone that's obsessed with laughing off this shit, it's never going to happen, it's dead. Who do you interact with? Because he says the majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful. Because you know what Twitter does? Twitter is an algorithm. Once you throw shit at someone that you can't stand on Twitter, the algorithm is going to feed you someone else because you interacted with it. You engaged it. Why do I only see shit on Twitter? Because you engage with shit. There's your answer. The internet is going to feed you what you interact with, what you engage with. Why do I get handed shit on YouTube videos? Well, on positive content that you like, do you thumbs it up? Do you leave a comment? Or do you act emotional on shit you can't stand and say you're effing full of it. Thumbs the video down. Don't get emotional. Use your brain and engage with stuff you like on the internet, and you won't be fed crap. And there's more out there, but you have to fight against the algorithm to get it, you know. And the world, your worldview of the internet may be skewed because of the algorithm you participate. Fight against the algorithm, and you'll have a better experience online. I promise you that. More on this later. This is great breaking news. I'm so happy right now as a DC fan. I'm a fan of everything, and I love what Gunn is saying. And again, it's okay to criticize Walter Hamada because you didn't get anything like this with the last regime. And I stand with Gunn. I'll see you later.